Hi, welcome everybody. Um, this is a channel about cross-stitching. So if that's not up your alley, then you're in the wrong spot. If you like cross-stitching, then you have found the right place. So it's been a while. A lot has happened. There's a lot of different reasons why I haven't been back. Thank you for everybody that has tried and contact me to know if I'm all right. It has been really appreciated that you all care for me. That's nice. So if you're new here, then welcome. And if you're returning, then thank you for sticking with me in my very long hiatus. Yeah. Words. This is going to be a long one. I can't talk today. I'm going to try and stay focused and try and not make it too long. I don't know if I will edit this one because the last video I did, the reason it was so broken was actually the editing software doing that to my video. Like the raw footage was perfect. So yeah, it's if I'm going to edit, I have to try another video editor and see, because the old one I used disappeared when my computer updated to Windows 10. I lost my Windows Movie Maker, which I have usually used. So, and I can't seem to get a hold of it easily-ish. I haven't looked that hard, in all honesty. Like, there's been a lot going on. So I'm going to show you a finish. Then I'm going to show you what I have worked on in April. Then I'm going to try and explain my plans and how everything is going this year with my stitching, how I'm thinking, how I have things set up in my head. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about why I haven't been here. So if you're not interested in why I haven't been back for a while, then you can just enjoy the cross-stitching. And then if you do want to know what has happened, then just stick to the end. I'm going to try and be a little bit structured. I'm not good at that. We all know this. So the first thing, I promised you a finish. So this is the back. It's the finish for my son. So it has the wall hanger. They only had it in white, so that's why it's white. And yeah, so far it looks good. So if you haven't figured out what it is, it's my Epic Pokemon Generation 1. I finished it in September of 2020. Right now, I don't remember the exact date. If you hold on 2 seconds, I can find it for you. Okay, so Epic Pokemon, it's cross-stitch by Sevotron, who put it out on Spreadsheet, which is a free pattern. And if you join the Pokemon Cross-Stitcher Facebook group, there's a person that has been so kind to make the cross-stitching patterns available for Pattern Keeper. So at the end, when stitching this, I used Pattern Keeper. Did I really not put in the date? I believe I finished this on the 23rd of September of 2020. For some reason, that number is missing. My finish number is missing. But yeah, I believe it was the 23rd of September. And I did 63,180 stitches in total on this one in 2020, just in 2020, to get it finished. So here it is now, all finished. So last time you would have seen it, all of this would have been done, and I was just missing this bottom section right here. So yeah, now it's completely done. My son absolutely loves and adores it. Sometimes after I have been singing to him and said goodnight and go out of his room when it's bedtime, I can hear him like saying the different Pokemon's names, because then he is like laying in bed trying to remember all the names. It's really cute. It's just adorable. So yeah, here it is, all done. It was really nice to get done. And at the same time, it was a little bit sad because this was a really fun stitch. Like, I really enjoyed this one, especially towards the end. I just really loved it. And this year, when I'm focusing on a more gray toned cross stitch, I actually really miss all the colors in the Epic Pokemon. Some places were really confetti heavy and some places were more blocks of colors, which is just perfect to stitch if you keep switching between the different sections you're working on. So yeah. Okay. Try to stay focused. Try. Projects I have worked on in April and are going to work on in April is I have 4 focus pieces this year, and then actually 5, and then I have some extra I'm working on in April. More on that later. So one of those is my baby blanket. I have it in this bag because this is really big. There's a lot of room in it. So I decided it would be nice to have it in this project bag when I'm to travel and stuff, because if I want more than just this project inside the bag, like if we take a longer trip, which with the corona is not happening, then this is a really nice one. I bought it like ages ago on Etsy, so I don't remember from where or anything. I'm bad about that. So this is my baby blanket. You would have seen this previously if you've been with me before. Like this top section right here approximately was done, and a little bit on the bunny. And all of these swirls on the border was done. But the bottom part that looks like this, just mirrored, was not finished. I didn't have the bunny fully finished, and I didn't have the moon's hat finished. And so here it is now, except the top border, because I kind of have to fold it to get it in the frame. So, so yeah, I think I had the face of the bunny done, and I might have some of it backstitched, but I don't remember where I was the last time I saw you in 2020, in all honesty. So, but the hat is fully finished, including the star. All the back stitching is done and completed. Like, I stitched just this section of the moon just to be able to do this last back stitching swirls, and I did this like darker color of the moon the darker yellow, just to be able to do the back stitching. So I would have all of that done, because I have another very back stitching heavy piece, which is difficult to back stitch. Like, it's fun, I enjoy it, it's just difficult. So I wanted to get the back stitching on this done, so it's fairly easy to get done. So all I have left is just filling in that section you can see right here of the moon, which goes really quickly because there's no, like on this pre-printed fabric, which is already quilted, the print is sometimes a little bit wonky. So especially when you hit the edges where there's back stitching, that can be really hard to get to look good, to look the way it's supposed to. So all of that is done. Now it's just basically filling in. So I still have to be careful about my stitches if the print is a little bit off, but most of the time it works perfectly. So it's, I believe it's going to be a finish in April. So that's my baby blanket. That's my oldest whip. It's a kit by Tobin Baby. It's stitched on a pre-printed fabric, as I said, with all the kit colors. Like, I'm just doing the kit. The design is originally a Joan Elliott design, which I found out like way later than when I started it. So before I found floss tube and everything. So apparently I have loved Joan Elliott long before I even knew it. So the next one is Mini Still Here. It's my oldest HAID, my oldest full coverage project I currently have on the go. 2 seconds, sorry. I just thought I would find the spreadsheet with the information, so I remember to say everything. So yeah, it's my oldest. In 2020, I didn't stitch on this at all. And before 2020, I've done approximately 3,000 stitches. So, and this is where it's now. And here you can see the project, which doesn't have that many colors. Actually, there's a lot of colors. There's a lot of pink and green and stuff like that, including grays, lots of grays and white, and did I say pink and purple? It looks amazing. It is a somewhat fun stitch, but it can be a little bit tiring with all that background. But it is fun. I do enjoy it every time I sit down to stitch on it. It's on a 25 count Easy Guide fabric by Swigert. Easy Guide is the fabric that has these pre-gridded lines on them. I actually have found that I have a lot of pre-printed fabric because I have a way to get it fairly easily here to Norway. So, but I tend to not use the grid lines. I like better when I grid the pages myself, because then you get like the grid line in the hole, and my brain just works better that way. So I have been tempted to just grid it myself. I know, it's awful. So I have gridded 2 lines here. You have one blue line here and one blue line there. And that's approximately where her wing will be, and it's approximately where the head will be, because this is the piece I'm doing in memory of my friend who killed herself. She was a believer of that angels exist, and that when she passed away, the note she left was that she would be there watching over everybody that she loved. So I just thought it was very fitting. It's a dark-haired angel because she was dark-haired. Believe me, that was not easy to find. Most angels are portrayed with white hair. But she had brown hair, so it's the exact hair color she had. And when I saw it, I immediately fell in love with the piece. So she's my angel, and I'm stitching her. So yeah. This is my 20 and 21 focus piece for full coverage fanatics. It's I use it for Stitch Around Iceland, the easy version. Reason why I do the easy version will come later. It's also in Summer Singing they have a year-long challenge, which is each month you decide one project to focus on, and if it's the same project you get like these bonus entries, etc., etc. And I have chose this one because this is one of my focus pieces this year. Like Baby Blanket is also a focus piece, but that will soon be done. So in reality, I always knew this would be my focus piece because I don't think I will get this done in 2021. So this will be like my main focus all year to try and get as much as I can get done on it with the limitations I have this year. So yeah, that's that one. Then we have the backstitch heavy piece. It's Alice sleeping on a clock. So it's this one. It's stitched on a 14 count Ada, which is hand dyed by me. It's one of the, I did like the first pieces I dyed, I did 6 different pieces, and this was one of them. And I do love how it turns out. Like, I would love to be able to replicate this, but I ain't. Because I really love this color and how it looks. I would not mind to have more of this. The pattern is by Maria Brovko. She is known as Cute Patterns by Maria on Etsy. And it was started in 2018. My Mini Still Hair was started in 2017, and the Baby Blanket in 2014. So when the Baby Blanket's done, Mini Still Hair will be my oldest WIP. And it's a cross-stitching project by Hade. It's called Mini Still Hair by Cindy Nielsen. Trying to be good and get the information out there. I'm not good about remembering that. So this is a lot of fun to stitch. The back stitching is very complicated, so I need to have my head straight when doing it. So the last time I picked this up was actually last time I tried to film and my movie didn't have sound, so I had to scrap it. But then I actually didn't have Alice here backstitched at all. But since you last saw it, I think this top of the clock was the only thing backstitched. Everything else is backstitched. I did have a little bit of his ear done, and I did have this part of the dress done. I don't think I had more. So I kind of finished Alice, finished the mushroom, did most of the clock, finished the rabbit except for a tiny bit of backstitching, and started the flamingo, which is sitting in a teacup. So there's not that much left on this either. So I think maybe I can be able to get it done this year. I don't know. We'll see. It's being stitched on every month, and you will know why later when I get the plans, because I need to try and stay focused, or else I'm gonna take like half an hour showing you all my WIPs, which is already close to that. So the next one is a pattern I so kindly got to borrow. Plus, the person that borrowed me the pattern also said that I could use all the kits, floss, and fabric. So this is Cinderella by Mirabilia. I'm doing this twice. You will only see one of the current progress right now. But I have started the second one because I'm in no new start this year. So I kind of had to do that just in case I will get this done. I don't think I will, but knowing me, I need to make sure I have a plan B and C and D and E. Maybe even an F, just saying. So this is where I'm at now. I had most of the border done last time you saw it, except for on this side. I had her hair and her tiara done, I believe. The castle was not done. That's done this year, even like all the backstitching. I had to order some extra Kreinik to be able to finish the backstitching with that Kreinik color, which is fine because I have to do this twice, so I needed to order that anyway. So, and I have been working lately on her skin 1/1. And as you can see, I'm not doing it like if there's a block with say color 745. Usually if you do 1/1, you would do 4 stitches of that color in that corresponding block if you instead have done over 2. So, but what I do with the edges is that I make it a little bit more natural looking, so it doesn't go like this, like staircase in the shading. I know Joan Elliott has when it comes to the ladies, she has a little bit better shading in the colors. These skin tone colors for Mirabilia stands out a little bit more, so I felt like I had to kind of do that. And to be able to do that, to not lose where I was or get issues, I ended up having this sulky sliver. It's a gold thread. A lot of people use this to grid with because you can't pierce this. You can't pierce this floss, like this sulky sliver. You can't pierce it with your needle. So I kind of made the back stitching lines so I easier can know where I am in these places where there's supposed to be beads. I made an X with the sulky sliver just to like keeping me on track, like having all the details I needed about where to stitch so I could just focus on getting the shading of the skin perfect, basically. So, and when I'm done with a section, I just pull out the sulky sliver. And as I said, you can't pierce it, so it's not like it's stuck in there. That has actually been really fun. I have been enjoying this. And even though Joan Elliott has better shadings on her projects, I might do that on the other projects. Like, I might do this on Joan Elliott in the future. I don't know about Cinderella and Rags and Riches because I already done Cinderella and Rags, and I don't want them to look too different. So I have to see if I'm going to do grading, how the skin is, with just making it flow a little bit better. The gradient of the skin. Okay. Then we have A Year Down Under. This is Cinderella is stitched on a 32 count even weave. In pearl gray, I believe. Smoky pearl gray. Smoky pearl gray. It was started in 2019, at the beginning of 2019. It was one of those projects, since I tried to do like a no new starts in 2019. It was one of those projects I kind of had put a length of floss in, or just a few half stitches, and counted it as started. So I could start at in 2019 because I didn't have the time in 2018. Whatever. For me, it was a failed attempt. This is much more real now in 2021. So, A Year Down Under. It's stitched on a 14 count white Aida. This top section, I believe I had finished at the end of the year, and this bottom section, most of this is new except for the September block. So yeah, it's getting there. It's on my Whip Go board. So when it's being called the different months, I have like either a block to finish or the border to finish. So I try and do that together with Whip Go. Like, not, it's going to be done this year, but I'm not pushing myself to do it right now, this second. And then I have two more projects I'm working on in April. This is Once Upon a Time sampler by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It's stitched on an 18 count opal Aida called Ether by Chromatic Alchemy. And I started this last year at the end. I had like a bunch of starts at the end. So I'm not really sure, like, if you saw this or not, if I had done this before I did my last floss tube or not, but this is where it's at now. So I kind of work my way over in the different sections just to see that I have the border correct. So now my plan is to try and work my way down so that when I work the border down, I always have something to reference, making sure that both the border and the motifs inside the different blocks will be correct. But I don't think that will get any more love in 2021, except for I need 1 or 2 more days with daily 30 on it. And then lastly is a project that I'm considering maybe restarting. But that will wait till next year, because if I restart this, I will have to do it on a different fabric. That's kind of the whole deal with restarting. I want it on a different fabric. So this is stitched on Picture This Plus 36 count oaken linen. And it's Esmeralda by Pinky the Pink on Etsy. The artwork is by Hannah Alexander, and Pinky the Pink Ashley has converted it into cross stitching. And here it is now. I put in maybe 500 more stitches. I believe 500 something stitches just in this diagonal that is going to go around, because I try to work my way to the top. So there's multiple reasons for me to redo this. One, I don't like having to work my way up. I like to start from the top, working down. Two, it's the called for fabric is a 36 count, but this is a hand dyed 36 count. So I just don't like how the stitches is laying, how it looks like it's it's just that smidge too small to stitch over to, and I have to stitch over to because there's splendid floss in here. So, and I'm worried when the bead comes, the beads will be too big. So I am kind of considering restarting this on a different fabric. If I do, I don't want to have it on a colored fabric. I just want to have a plain white fabric to have it on, to kind of don't take away all the beads and all the metallic floss and stuff like that. I don't want that to get lost in a colored fabric at the back. So yeah, this will not be pulled out anymore in 2021 to my knowledge. There's a reason for that, and I'm gonna get to that just one second. I have to put things away while I'm doing this, or else it's going to be too much of a mess for me to clean up, and then I'm never gonna do this again. And we're gonna try to be good about doing floss tip again, because I actually really love doing floss tip, except the cleanup phase. So this year I am embroidering 2 pieces just like this, including there's some more pieces that my sister-in-law is working on, and if she doesn't get them done in time by the end of the year, I would have to stitch on them also. I hope not, because I still have a lot to do on this. You can see all the pattern. That's a repeating pattern. It's repeated. You can almost see all of it. There's a little bit more on this side and a little bit more on this side. You can't see, but this length is approximately one section of the pattern, and it's repeated 3 times on both those 2 big pieces of fabric. So I have to do this section 6 times. And that's gonna be a dress for my niece. In Norway, when you have your confirmation, it's normal for the girls to get the national suit, which is hand embroidered, and then you take it to sewer to put the pieces together after you have embroidered them and make it into a dress with sometimes there's a hat, sometimes there's a purse. She has both. Depending on where you are from the country, depends on what pattern on the dress you have. So that's distinctive to where you live. She has, as a little girl, she lived up north. So she decided she wanted that dress for her confirmation. And of course, that's one of the most heavily embroidered dresses there is. And I said yes to this before I knew it was that dress. That dress. I'm gonna embroider. There's been a lot going on, so I have really stressed about that dress. So yeah, that's actually my real main focus piece this year. Is I have to get that done this year, because in January of 2022, it has to go to the sewer for the sewer to be able to put the dress together, so it will be done for my niece's confirmation. So yeah, you can see why I'm skeptical to getting stuff done this year. But I do some cross stitching, and what I decided at the beginning of the year, we're gone into plans, if you didn't know. At the beginning of the year, we knew there would be a zombie run in the daily 30. We actually knew this a little bit before the year started. So in that zombie run, you choose 4 pieces that are going to be kind of your 4 main focuses for the year. There's different ways to switch out the projects, and if you finish one, you put one in instead of that project. So it's not set in stone, but there's bonuses for not using those possibilities to switch projects out. If you don't do that, like, there's a bonus at the end of the year. And my thinking was that I just want to have those 4 focused on until they're done, and then I will switch in something else for the one I get done. That's like, no, you still get all the bonuses at the end of the year. And I kind of like that. With the whole, I have the dress to focus on, just have a few projects that I've really focused on. There's been a lot of issues health-wise because of the dress and not because of the dress. So things have been a little bit hard, and to try and compensate, I have had to do more cross-stitching, because stitching on the dress doesn't, I'm not relaxed when I stitch on it. I'm not relaxed at all. So I have to do cross-stitching to be able to relax. So I'm switching up the methods of how to try and get that dress done and stay ahead of my schedule of getting that dress done, and still do cross-stitching in between everything else. So I have those 4 main projects, which is Mini Still Here by Hade. That's chosen because it's my oldest full coverage, which I usually always do every year. My oldest full coverage has been my focus. Then the baby blanket is my oldest whip. That's why that's a focus this year. Alice Sleeping on a Clock is my oldest medium to small category projects. Like, I have been in Stitch from Stash a long time, and they kind of made section where you get money for different types of sizes of the projects. Like, if you put it into a square, and then somebody did spin on this, and somebody has spun this more, and now there's like an unofficial list of what a small, medium, and large and BAP is. I even have a higher than BAP, which is just insanity category for my whip list. So it's just like a list that some has plotted down to be like, okay, this is a medium, this is a small, etc., etc. I have taken that, did some more work with it, and made mine. And it's actually, that list is actually used in Magical Stitches. When you made your whip album for the beginning of the year, you had to say like what size of project it was, because it was relevant to be able to say which one were your smalls. And a small is something that if you take the height and the width and stitch count, you add them together, divide by 2, so you kind of would find out how big it will be in a square. If that's under 100 stitches, it's counted as a small. If it's under 200 stitches, it's counted as a medium. So if it's over 200 stitches, it's a large, and that's the categories in Magical Stitches. On top of that, I think I have set 500 stitches as a BAP, which stands for a big project. I spell that out because I know some people cringe when they hear it. And then I have insanity. I don't remember what the reasoning was. I think something like if it's over 750 stitches square, it's an insanity project. Something like that. That's my category. So yeah, Alice is medium to small project, which most likely when I get that done, I will put in another medium to small project. And then I have Cinderella. Normally, what I would have done was to have my oldest pretty lady, but or fancy lady, but since that is a borrowed pattern, I'm prioritizing doing that instead of the oldest one, which would have been my Winter Queen. So that's the 4 main focus projects. Then A Year Down Under is my 5th. That's the one I try to use, especially if it's spun on WhipGo, for that month, to do the monthlies in Daily 30. And then my newest thing to do is I got a challenge of trying to get 500 stitches in on all your whips, which is impossible for me this year. I don't have the stitchy time. I don't have the real motivation to do that. I started the year with 115 whips. It's now down to 114, and we'll get further down when the baby blankets is done. So there's a lot of whips. But what I do is I try to choose one of the whips that is the longest since I stitched on. I have a spreadsheet which I input approximately every month, like when I worked on something, and it shows, I kind of, every time I then work on something, I will put the new number in, so it's called last stitched on. So if I stitch on something the 3rd of March, I have like a 2021 section, and March, I find a whip, I put the number 3 there for the 3rd of March, and then I go back and I delete the one that previously was there. So it always shows the last time I stitched on a whip. And using that, I can go back and see which one haven't been touched for a long, long time. And I have a couple that has still not been touched since 2019. So I take one of those from 2019 I still haven't touched to kind of work on in a month. Just get approximately 500 stitches in on it or more. And then I take one of the projects I started just at the end of the year, like really trying to get a lot of projects, so I had a lot to choose from because I'm going to stitch so much this year. I'm going to stitch on that dress all of this year. As I said, I need a plan B, C, D, and F. So yeah, if I by some miracle finish that tomorrow, and then I finish all of these other projects, of course I needed to have 115 projects. It's just plan F. It's plan F. It's fine. Okay, so I choose one of those. I started just at the end. Some of them I did a good amount of stitches on, but a lot of them I only put in like 200, just right over 200 stitches, and then put it away, pull out something new, and it was crazy those last 2 months you didn't see me. And in December I almost didn't start that much because then I had all the Christmas baking and stuff like that, and it had just been my son's birthday at the end of November, and December for me is like a really bad month to do stitchy stuff. I have a lot of stuff I have to do. So yeah, that's my plan going forward. So the two I chose for this month was Once Upon a Time sampler, which I started at the end of last year, and Esmeralda, which has been a long time since I worked on her. And then I keep those 5 other projects as a focus. Those stay with me for the rest of the year until they are done. Then I will change it up with something new. Some of them I'm still debating what to do. Like I keep an open mind of what I want to switch out depending on what I need. Like if I feel like now I do need a finish, I need to kind of feel like, or if I need something that's easy to stitch on, I have that opportunity. It's not like I'm locked to, oh, the next whip I'm gonna switch my baby blanket up with is my oldest whip. Like, no, because then it would be Mini Still Here, and that's already on the schedule, and then it would be Winter Queen, and then I would have 2 Mirabilias at a time, and I don't really want that. So it's a little bit more open. My guess is projects that are planned to be gifts are most likely the one being put in instead of baby blankets. When Alice gets done, there's a big chance I'm gonna switch it out with a medium or small projects. I'm not sure if it's going to be the oldest medium or small, because Alice is medium right now. So my thinking is maybe to do the oldest small and then go back to the oldest medium and then go to the oldest small project, if you get that. When I finish A Year Down Under, my plan is to try and put in the oldest project I have with a lot of details in it, because then it's a good project to use for the monthlies because it can fit into so many things. It's either going to be that, or it's going to be the width that's actually the one that's the longest since I worked on. Either one. So I think that's everything in my plans, what's going on in my head. I have made a very intricate spreadsheet this year. I used a lot of time to work on that. So a lot of my time at the end of the year, last year, disappeared to that. When I couldn't stitch, I sat and fiddled a lot with the spreadsheets to try and optimize, to try and double check all the numbers and algorithms and stuff were put in correctly. I have shared a copy where I explain some of the things I put in the different sections, and I shared it in the Daily 30 group and Virtual Stitchers group. And I am planning, not set in stone, of maybe trying to make a video where I show you how that spreadsheet work and how I work with it and what I do. And most likely I already have plans to maybe optimize it even more for next year. So when I have some ideas of what I want. So now in my head, like just randomly throughout the day, I'm thinking about like how I can get what I want into this spreadsheet and make it act the way I want it to do in the spreadsheet. And that has been so so good, that spreadsheet. It makes stitching more enjoyable because I have a list over what prompts I'm using a project for. It doesn't matter if I'm quadruple dipping or dipping in 8 different prompts with one project. I have that listed, and it goes, and it, as I stitch on a day while I'm stitching, I'm like, okay, I have stitched this section. I mark it off. While I mark off, I count that, okay, I have 22 stitches. I put it into my spreadsheet, so it continuously count how many stitches I've done in a day, so I don't need to do that at the end. And the spreadsheet will then take those stitches I have done and subtract from all the prompts I'm doing. So it's like, okay, on mini still here, I have 12,918 stitches left in full coverage fanatics 20 and 21. The next leg of Iceland I'm working on, I actually think I inputted like 5 legs at a time now, just because I know I stitch a lot when I sit down and work on it. I have 2,218 stitches left. For the zombie run, I have 361 stitches left because I used it to finish off something else, and I didn't finish the zombie run because it's a monthly and it's actually yearly, so I know I'm going to work more on it this month, so I didn't worry about having that amount of stitches left. So as you see, that spreadsheet constantly tells me how many stitches I have left for the different prompts, making it really easy for me not to stitch over what I need for the different prompts, which is a really satisfying feeling for myself. Like being able to do exactly 400 stitches or exactly 200 stitches. It feels good. It feels good. Sometimes I do go over 1, 2, or 3 stitches. I think even once I did like 25 stitches over just because I didn't have anything else to use it for, so I just continued stitching. So yeah, love that new spreadsheet. So there's been a lot of work on that. When it comes to life, last year, a lot of the year, I did train myself and my body to try and be able to wake up at a good time each day, take a little walk each day, to try and get to the point where I could start to exercise. Not anything heavy because my body can't handle that, but I started doing yoga. And it's that slow kind of yoga, and it's called aerial yoga, so you're in a yoga hammock. So a lot of the positions and stuff you do, it's not so muscle heavy, like it's not very energy. It doesn't take a lot of energy because you always have support, you always have help. I have also hyper mobility in my joints, in my body, especially my back, which makes yoga really hard for me to practice because I tend to overbend. Or because I, in the day, overbend a lot, I have a lot of places that are locked in my back, which makes issues in my back. So doing yoga has really been good, but it's still more activity than what my body is used to. So I kind of had just to put everything away. I almost didn't stitch for a month when I started doing yoga. And it's yeah, but I needed it. I needed to try and get some muscles built up and get, like, I have a lot of flexibility some places and some places not. So I kind of need to get that balance that my whole body is flexible, so I don't get all those locked places in my back which starts to hurt and ache and everything. So yeah. Then Christmas came along. I was really tired, and then I had Christmas baking to do because we don't have that much money right now. There's a lot of issues with the house. Big rat problem, which is much more severe than we thought. Not mainly in our house, but we live in houses that are like right beside each other, like wall to wall. And the neighbors have rat problems. So suddenly we found out that we have rats on the roof, like under the roof tiles. They're running on the beams under the roof tiles because somebody in the neighborhood haven't been careful about the rat problem they have in their house. So now it's eating places on the roof, which most likely is the reason for why one of our windows started to leak. Which again, in Norway, those kind of rat problem is really iffy when it comes to what's insurance. So how much we have to cover ourselves might be a substantial sum. So yeah, we got that. Then there was some issues in the kindergarten with Leo, like nothing serious. It's just that I didn't agree with how they did things. I noticed that Leo was less happy with the kindergarten, and I kind of feel a need to protect him because he's very like me when I was little. Like, if he just adapts to how the situation is. He doesn't complain. He just adapts. And the kindergarten kind of admitted to have been using that to try and make other kids that doesn't enjoy kindergarten have a friend in Leo, to try and kind of put Leo in a situation where he's forced to be with them so they can have fun. But Leo has other friends, and he really actually wants to be with other friends. But he is friendly. He is super kind. He has such a big heart. So, of course, he adapts. And, of course, he has fun with the other children. But I feel it's wrong to kind of lock him in a situation where he has to play with that kid. Like, he should be able to play with everyone he wants. Not to be locked with somebody because he's kind. Like, don't exploit his kindness. Like, yeah. I'm a mama bear. Just saying, I'm a mama bear, and I'm very sensitive to those kind of topics because that has happened to me all my life when it comes to school and just even my parents. Like, when it came to, if they saw somebody that didn't have a lot of friends in the congregation, then I was the one that had to be friends with them. And it's like, I feel like the friendship was destroyed the minute they forced me to be friends with them. Because it's much better to do it in a way where naturally I would spend more time with that person, so I would develop feelings for that person as a friend and start to care about them as a friend, not be forced into being a friend and from there try to develop the feelings. Like, I'm not a fan. So yeah, so there's have been a couple of things like that. Then we got a massive outbreak of corona in this town I live in. So we're in a very strict lockdown, hopefully on our way out now. Which means My husband is a teacher. Luckily, on the school, they have made it so every other day the kids are in school and every other day they are home having homeschooling. So he is home every other day. Because without those restrictions, our kindergarten closes at 2 p.m. There's no work in Norway that stops at 2 p.m. I don't know how other parents does it. I know other parents are really struggling with making the wheels go round. And it's only positions that are considered necessary people in the society, like nurses, doctors, bus drivers, that can have prolonged opening for their kids in kindergarten. And my husband is a teacher. That's not considered critical, apparently, because apparently nobody cares that the kids are being taken care of. And neither is people working in kindergartens. There's that. So yeah. And since I'm not working because I'm sick, it's just expected that I then have to do all the work. It's like, well, there's a reason I don't really work because I'm sick. But yeah, I have to do all that extra stuff. So that means every other day I have to pick up Leo before 2 p.m. because it closes 2 p.m. And if you come at 5 minutes to 2 p.m., there's a line of parents talk about trying to get infected, get to the kindergarten 5 minutes before it closes because all the parents are gathered together outside the gate to try and get their kids. So yeah, I have decided I go when it's 1:30. So I'm at the kindergarten 10 past, 1:45, and pick up Leo. Because then there's usually just 2, 3, or 4 parents picking up their kids. And then I take him home, and I will have to have him at home alone until my husband is done at work. And that can be everything from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So, safe to say, I'm exhausted most of the time. Really struggling. So, especially since the lockdown, there has been a lot of cross-stitching and not that much work on the dress, which has made it so I'm behind on the dress, which makes me stressed, which takes even more energy from me, and I'm a total mess. I'm a total mess! Hey! Who joins me? Yeah. And I soon have to get this video done because I need to go and pick up my son. So yeah. And oh yeah. On top of that, I have had small stuff going on. I got on what's it called? Tendinitis. I think it's tendinitis in my foot. So that happened for a couple of days. And now I have a herniated disc in my neck. So if I try to do a lot of things in a day, that goes completely bonkers and makes it so I can't move my head. I lose feelings in my arms depending on which side it gets herniated. So for a couple of days, I haven't been able to stitch at all. I've just been laying in bed, bedridden, haven't been able to do a thing. Literally, the way I have had to sleep was to have my normal pillow under my chest and then have a second pillow to have my head on so I can lay straight on my stomach in the bed with my head down so my neck, so I'm not having the neck resting down, because then the herniation gets worse. So yeah, that has been interesting. It's a lot going on. And I know there's a lot more people out there having much bigger issues than me. But this year is just kicking my butt. It's kicking my butt. But all we can do is make the best out of it and try and look at the bright side. The bright side is my son loves me picking him up now, because he knows when we go home, he asks if he can get fruit for lunch. And I asked him the other day why he always wants fruit for lunch when his dad's not home, just with me. And I'm like, why do you only want fruit for lunch when I'm at home? And his answer was, well, because, Mommy, you make the best fruit. I have some skills I never knew I had. He's so adorable. I think what he means is like something about the way I cut it up, because I cut it up into a bowl for him as a little fruit salad. So I think that's the thing. I might be better at that than his dad. I don't know. I make better fruit. So yeah, he's adorable. So yeah, it's even though it's tiring to have had them home so much, it's also nice. Like, I do enjoy it, but I'm also looking forward to things going back to a little bit more normal, so I can feel a little bit more like myself. Because when I feel like myself, I enjoy those little moments even more than I'm able to do now. So yeah. As I said, I'm not sure if this video will be edited. You will have seen that by now. And I don't make any promises to when I will be back. I hope this video has sound, because the last 3 times, yeah, I have tried to be back 3 times to film, there hasn't been a sound, because the default setting in the filming program on my PC is apparently nothing. The microphone default is nothing. So yeah, I put it on the web camera's microphone, so I hope it's with sound this time. I don't have to scrap 1 hour again. So I will try to be back. Depending on if I like the new video editing software I have found, depends on how often. Because if I don't like the video editing program, I feel like I need to do updates more often, so you remember where stuff were the last time, since I'm not inputting that information anymore. And if I like the editing program, I might do less. But my thinking is I need to have a structure. I need to have a routine. So my thinking is, if I don't do a weekly FlossTube update, which is my plan, not set in stone, not promising anything, if I instead then go to every other or once a month, my plan is to maybe do a Stitch with Me instead. Those weeks I don't do an update, just to have a routine. That's for my benefit, actually, not yours. But it can benefit you guys if you like Stitch with Me, so win-win. So yeah, words, brain, melting. Thank you, everybody, for being here, supporting me. Everybody that had reached out to wonder how I'm doing. life has been crap. So thank you for thinking about me. It has really, really meant a lot to me. Like, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. It means a lot. And with that, I'm gonna love you and leave you. I hope you had a fun time with me and all this craziness going on. And I hope to be back soon. I really, really do. I hope to be back soon and hope to be on a regular schedule. So, because I need your friendship. I appreciate your friendship, and I have been missing that, and it will be nice getting back to all of you. So yeah, take care, everyone, and I will see you later. Goodbye.